Hello friends, in this video we'll discuss about occupational structure and economic development. The format of the presentation is as follows. First, we shall try to discuss about the meaning of occupational structure and economic development in the introductory part. In the second point, we shall try to see the relationship between occupational structure and economic development as given in the literature. Number of social scientists have studied this relationship and tried to explain whether there exists any kind of an association between occupational structure of a country and economic development. Then, in the third point, we shall try to take up the experience of various countries with the help of various data. In the fourth point, we shall try to see the case of India, that is occupational pattern in India, pre-independence and the post-independence period. And finally, we shall give a short summary about the whole topic. So let us start with the introduction. As we all know, occupation in any economy or in any country are basically divided into three particular activities, namely primary activities, secondary activities, and tertiary activities. The primary activities include agriculture, animal husbandry, forestry, fishery, and others. The secondary activities include manufacturing in large scale, medium scale, and small scale industries. The tertiary activities include transport, communication, banking, finance, healthcare, education, etc. The concept of occupational structure refers to the distribution of country's population in different occupation. In simple words, for employment purpose, for income generation purpose, the population of a country gets distributed in all the three basic activities, namely the primary, secondary, and tertiary activities. The distribution of population for employment purpose in the various occupations itself means the concept of occupational structure. Now, there exists some kind of a relationship between occupational structure and economic development. As in when a society progresses from a underdeveloped state to a developing, from a developing to a highly developed state, the distribution of population as far as the occupations are concerned goes on changing. The concept of occupational structure and economic development tries to examine this particular relationship between the two concepts. Secondly, we shall try to see whether there exists some kind of a relationship between the two concepts of occupational structure and economic development as given in the literature. If we scan the literature, we'll come to know that there are two authors, namely Colin Clark and Irving Fisher, who have conducted the study and given an evidence about the relationship between the two concepts. In this, they have found that Colin Clark says high income is associated with high proportion of population working in the tertiary sector and vice versa. It means as and when the income of a particular country goes on increasing, the proportion of people working in tertiary sector goes on increasing. Similarly, Irving Fisher, in his particular study, again supports the same argument. He says in progressive economies, in the sense that developed economies, there is a steady shift of employment from essential primary activities to secondary activities and later into tertiary production. So the literature gives a proof of the relationship between occupational structure and economic development. That is, as and when the country goes to a higher income level, the proportion of people working in the primary activities goes on decreasing and the proportion of people working in the secondary and tertiary activities goes on increasing. Now, whether this is actually proved with the data of the various countries over the years, let us try to see with the help of a particular example. In this example, we will try to see that from 1960 to 2010, we have taken the example of United States, and from 1960 to 2010, we have taken the example of India, and we try to see as and when the income goes on increasing. PCI indicates per capita income. 1960 on a lower level, 2010 on a higher level. Similar is the case of India. Then what happened to the distribution of population in agriculture, industry, and services, that is primary, secondary, and tertiary activities? The data clearly shows that when US in 1960 had only low per capita income. 7% of the population was depending on agriculture or primary activities. Now, when the society actually the per capita income increases, the proportion of people has reduced from 7.6 to 1.7% to 1.6 percentage. Similar is the case in case of the subsistence in the case of services sector. It is observed that the percentage of people is going on increasing. Now, similarly, in case of India too, as and when the per capita income is going on increasing, you find that the proportion of people working in agriculture slow goes on decreasing, and in the proportion of people working in industries and services goes on increasing. Now, based on this, let us see what are the major observations we can make from this particular table. The table clearly shows that there is an inverse relationship between per capita income and population. Means per capita income increasing, proportion of population in agriculture goes on decreasing. Similarly, there is a positive correlation between per capita income and people working in industries and services. One of the important point from the previous table is that though the proportion of population in agriculture goes on decreasing, the absolute number of people goes on increasing. It means the number of people depending due to the increase in population will always be higher in agriculture, at least in underdeveloped and developing societies. The fourth point says in the early stage of economic development, industrial sector absorbs more labor, and in the higher stages of economic development, the services sector absorbs more labor, or more employment opportunities gets created in the services activities. And the decline in the absolute number, the fifth point says absolute number of people working in the agriculture sector only happens in the advanced stages of a particular society. Means when the society reaches a very high stage of development, then only the absolute number of people who are working in agriculture or primary activities goes on decreasing. The most important point which is can be made from the previous table is that as a society goes on higher stage of development, the difference between the tertiary sector and secondary sector employment increases, but the difference goes on decreasing. There will be less difference between the two sectors in terms of people depending on it and the employment opportunities. Similarly, we shall try to see what exactly is the occupational pattern in the case of India. From 1901 to 1951, I label it as pre-independence period. I label it as pre-independence period and label it as pre-independence period. This table clearly shows the time period from 1901 to 1951, which I call it as the pre-independence period, and 1991 to 2010, I call it as 1951 to 2010, I call it as a post-independence period. The summary of all this particular table shows you that initially the primary activities, almost 72% of the people were employed in this particular sector, whereas in the post-independence period, if you find that the number of people who are depending has come down to almost 53%, and the percent who are actually working in the tertiary sector earlier was 15%, and now in the last 100 years it has gone up to 25%. There are particular features as far as the distribution of occupations or occupational pattern in the pre-independence period and the post-independence period. So we shall try to see what are the major observations with reference to it. In the pre-independence period, we observe that there is absolutely no change in the proportion of people working in the agriculture sector. Right from 1901 to 1950,